Bedtime Stories for Kids, The Emperor's New Clothes. Once upon a time, in a grand kingdom of gleaming towers and marble halls, there lived an emperor who cared about one thing more than ruling wisely, more than leading bravely, more even than gold or glory. He cared about clothes, not just any clothes, but robes made of the softest silks, cloaks embroidered with gemstones, and shoes stitched with threads of silver. His wardrobe stretched for miles. He had an outfit for every hour of the day. His tailors never slept. "Good morning, Your Majesty," said his minister one day. "Is it?" the emperor replied, inspecting a cuff. "This lavender is so last season." While his people struggled with empty barns and broken bridges, the emperor spent all the royal taxes on fabrics, feathers, and fashion advisors. "Where is His Majesty?" nobles would ask during council meetings. In the dressing room, came the usual reply. The emperor wasn't cruel, only vain, and in his vanity, he was blind to anything that wasn't covered in rhinestones or ruffles. One day, two strangers arrived at the palace gates. They were thin and sharpened, dressed in dark cloaks, and speaking with smooth, confident voices. "We are master weavers," they declared, "from lands far beyond your maps." "And what can you weave?" the palace steward asked. The taller one leaned forward. "A cloth unlike any in the world, invisible to anyone who is foolish, incompetent, or unfit for their position." The steward's eyes widened. In truth, he often feared he was none too clever himself. The news flew through the palace like wind through silk. Soon, the emperor was clapping his hands with glee. "Invisible to fools," he cried. "Why, I must wear such a fabric. I shall know instantly who is wise and who is worthless." He summoned the weavers at once. "Weave me a suit," he commanded, "fit for a ruler who is never wrong." "Of course, Your Majesty," said the short one with a bow, "but we'll need gold, and the finest silk." The emperor nodded. "Take whatever you need." And so, the work began. Or so it seemed. The two master weavers were given a grand workroom in the palace, and chests filled with gold and silk. They set up looms, they clanged tools, they murmured excitedly, but they never wove a single thread. Instead, they hid the fine materials in sacks, sold them to traders at night, and pretended to work by day, moving their hands through empty air. "Ah," said the tall one, "do you see how the fabric shimmers?" "Like moonlight on water," the short one replied, pretending to squint. Everyone who visited the workshop saw nothing, because there was nothing to see, but no one dared say it. The emperor sent his most trusted minister to check on the progress. The minister stepped into the room and saw the empty loom. "Oh no," he thought, "I can't see anything. Does that mean I'm unfit for office? That I'm a fool?" But he straightened his robes, nodded, and smiled. "It's exquisite," he said aloud. "Such delicate detail." The weavers beamed. "Would Your Excellency like to touch it?" The minister waved his hands over air and gasped dramatically. "So smooth, so weightless." Word spread quickly. The emperor's new clothes would be the most magnificent in history. Soon, every noble, general, and advisor in court had visited the looms, and none dared admit they saw nothing. Even the emperor himself went to see the fabric. He stepped into the room with his entourage and clasped his hands eagerly. "Well?" he asked. "Where is it?" The tall weaver bowed low. "Here, Your Majesty." The color like liquid starlight. The pattern, a tapestry of wisdom and glory. The emperor blinked. He saw nothing. But panic rose in his chest. Am I a fool?" He could not bear the thought. So he smiled and clapped. "Magnificent. You've outdone yourselves. Would Your Majesty like to try it on for the parade?" the short one asked. "Parade," the emperor repeated. "Yes, to unveil your wisdom to the people, to show the world that you can see what only the worthy can see." The emperor nodded slowly. Yes, of course, a parade." And so it was announced. On Sunday, the emperor would reveal his most dazzling outfit yet to the kingdom. Crowds began to gather. But behind closed doors, the weavers continued weaving. Nothing. Sunday arrived. The city was buzzing with excitement. Streets were swept, banners fluttered in the breeze, and trumpets blared from the palace towers. People crowded the main boulevard, eager to see the emperor's mysterious new clothes, the ones only the wise could see. Inside the palace, the weaver stood proudly beside the emperor, holding up an empty hanger. "Your Majesty," the tall one said, "here is your coat." "And your trousers," added the short one, offering nothing. The emperor gulped, but forced a smile. "Of course, just as I imagined." Servants helped him dress, lifting invisible sleeves and fastening invisible buttons. "The fit is perfect," one whispered, eyes wide with fear. "So flattering," another nodded, though his hands trembled. The emperor looked into the mirror and saw nothing but his bare self, yet he could not admit it. If he did, he feared they would all know he was a fool. "Time to greet the people," said the tall weaver. "Yes," the emperor said, lifting his chin. "Let the parade begin." The palace doors opened. The emperor stepped out into the sunshine, naked as the day he was born, save for his crown and shoes. The crowd gasped. And then, they cheered. "How stunning! So elegant! I can see every stitch of wisdom." Each person thought, "I can't see anything, but everyone else can. I must keep quiet." And so the lie grew louder, carried on fear and pride. But near the edge of the street, a small boy sat on his father's shoulders, blinking at the sight before him. "Papa," he said, tugging at his sleeve, "why isn't the emperor wearing any clothes?" A hush fell over the crowd. Heads turned. Eyes widened. Someone giggled. Then another. Laughter bubbled like water breaking through a dam. "He's not wearing anything. He's naked." The emperor froze. His face flushed redder than rubies. He wanted to run, to scream, to disappear. But he was the emperor, so he kept walking, head held high, though his heart sank with every step. And behind him, the two weavers had vanished, gone with their gold, never to be seen again. From that day on, the emperor still wore fine clothes. But he listened more. He asked questions. And when children spoke, he did not silence them. Because one honest voice, even the smallest, can shatter the grandest lie.